So this is a picture of me weighing 115 pounds 3 years into a raw vegan diet. Some people might think this is very skinny, and I definitely agree. This is a picture of me a year and a half later after doing 2 long water fasts on top of tons and tons of juice cleansing and mono fruit eating. So a lot of people cannot gain weight on a raw food diet. And it honestly has nothing to do with the fact that you're eating fruit. There could be some things you're doing wrong within that diet, but if you're eating enough variety and if you're getting enough calories in and you still cannot gain weight, there is a problem. That really has nothing to do with the food. So being somebody who has had just such a difficult journey healing my chronic Crohn's disease and SIBO and digestive issues and many other health conditions, I had such a difficult time putting on weight. And I'd hear all the people talking trash. You need to eat meat, you need to eat eggs, you need to eat cheese, you need to eat more, who really don't know anything about me or what I was doing to try to heal myself and to gain weight. And sorry, I gotta turn this off. And there's a lot of confusion around, well, because you're eating fruit, that's the reason you're losing weight. And it has nothing to do with eating a fruit-based diet. There are so many people out there on a raw vegan or a fruitarian diet that are extremely athletic and very big looking, who have plenty of muscle and are in the perfect and great shape for their age, for their height. And a lot of people just don't understand that it really has nothing to do with the fruit. The reason a lot of people get skinny initially when they juice is because they are, or when they even eat fruit, is because they are already overweight. So what bringing a human-based diet into alignment with your body does is it typically, if you're not too far broken, it will either allow you to gain weight for a lot of people or to lose weight for people who need to lose weight. Because when you eat the perfect human diet, the diet that our body was designed to eat, what it does is it allows your body to start to heal and start to cleanse. It starts to give your body the perfect amount of nutrients that it needs to operate at the level that it needs to operate. Some people who are athletic, who are using a lot more energy, you're going to need to eat more on the days when you're more active and you're burning more calories. But predominantly, most people, after you've been raw for 3, 6 months to a year and you don't have extreme gut issues, if you're exercising and eating enough, you should be totally fine and have plenty of muscle and weight. And you shouldn't look like a lot of these people from like the vegan deterioration channel that they seem to call out all the time because they catch them in a funny walking moment looking really skinny or haggard. Anybody who's the hottest person in the world, if you catch them in the wrong moment in a video still, obviously you can find them looking pretty funky looking. So the diet really doesn't matter per se if you're doing it right. And by right, I say eating a low fat, high carbohydrate, high water content, as minimal as processed as possible, predominantly, in my opinion, fruit and carbohydrate based, and roughly between 1,500 and 2,500 to 3,000 calories a day. If you're super active, you might need more. And if you're a couch potato, you could need less. I know plenty of people who eat less than 1,500 calories who are in some of the best shape I've ever seen, who have plenty of muscle, and they're the perfect weight. So as long as you're doing that correct, you should be okay. However, for the people who have major gut issues, you can eat and eat and eat and eat. You can eat high fat. You can stuff your face with 4,000 to 5,000 calories of either fruit or an animal-based diet, and you just cannot gain weight. Why is that? Well, let's talk about that. So a lot of people don't think that mucoid plaque even exists. But I know from firsthand experience and so many countless people that I've either personally worked with or have talked to who have released mucoid plaque, not because they think that's what they were releasing, but because they saw it, they touched it, and they pulled it out of the toilet and inspected it and confirmed, yes, this is plaque. This is not food. This is not just meals from 2 weeks ago. This is actual, probably decades old plaque. And so a lot of people think that just by eating a raw diet or eating a simple mono-fruit diet, you can cleanse your body and your bowels enough to eliminate a lot of this plaque. And I will say, yes, this is true for some people. Some people's bodies are so good at detoxifying, they have very strong genetic tendencies to filter out waste. And once you start aligning and eating a hydrating fruit diet, your body's going to start getting more hydrated easily, and you're going to start cleansing, and you will see a lot of plaque come out. I've seen miracles happen with the removal of plaque just from doing 2 to 4 weeks on a juice cleanse. You know, a juice feast we call it, which is just only drinking liquids that have calories in them. Juice, green juice and fruit juice and coconut water. And I've also seen a lot of people just go on grapes for like 30 days and just see the craziest things come out of their bowels. Like just aliens that look like the shape of your intestines with ribs on them, brown and hard and probably just, 20 years old, that smell like a sewage plant, that does not smell like anything that you've eaten in the past 5 days. And so while a lot of people are getting major, amazing results at overcoming the inability to gain weight by doing that, a lot of people aren't. And that's where I fit in. This is the category that I am in right now. Not right now, that I have been in. So the 2 pictures I showed you earlier were pre-water fasting, about, I'd say, 20 days after doing 60 days on juice for my probably 4th or 5th very long juice cleanse. This was right after I had knee surgery. I was really struggling, and I was trying to juice my way out of it. In many ways I was thriving, but in many other ways I still wasn't able to gain weight. And at the beginning of my journey, I went on 90 days of juice. I initially lost about 25 pounds, and during the middle of that juice cleanse, I gained back about 10 of that pounds. And I was drinking the same thing. I was drinking about 2,000 calories a day in half green juice and half fruit juice. And it was evident that, yes, you can gain weight, even juicing. But throughout my journey, I just became unable to gain weight over and over. So what did I do? Once I hit this peak, a lot of people will hit a peak when you've either done a mono-fruit diet and that doesn't work, you've tried mono-fruit for months and you're not gaining weight. What do? You have to go deeper into the detoxification pyramid. At the top is water fasting, down from that is juice cleansing, and down from that is simple fruit eating. So if you've tried simple fruit, mono-fruit, low-fat, very hydrating fruit, you can bump it up and do a juice cleanse, an extended juice feast, we call it. If you haven't ever done one, they can be life-changing for people. Get an amazing juicer, take a little bit of time to figure it out, and just start making daily juices. Make 4 to 6 liters a day, depending on your level of activity. And you can see amazing, astonishing results based on just drinking a lot more liquid and pulling the fiber out for a while, for even a few weeks up to a couple months. I've done 3 months, and I saw amazing things. But my body adapted to eating a fruitarian diet and juicing. It became my new normal. I stopped really being able to see results with juicing because it kind of just became my new diet. My body became acclimated to just living on a lot of liquids and eating fruit. And I know plenty of people who drank mostly juice in their diet with a little bit of fruit who are ripped, have plenty of weight and plenty of muscle. So we know for a fact that really the only thing you need to maintain your weight is to eat enough calories and have a healthy gut. But if your gut isn't healthy because you're either fermenting your food or most likely you have decades old plaque material that is basically the microscopic remnants of every meal you've ever eaten. How much water is in bread? 2%? Maybe a little more, 4%? How much water is in a potato chip though? Maybe less than 1%. So every time you eat something that's cooked or dehydrated, for one, it takes a lot of energy and hydration from your own body to break that food down. But for two, part of those matters and that material stays in your body. It doesn't get eliminated. And that matter builds up in your intestinal tract, predominantly in the middle to lower part of your small intestines, which is also where most doctors and most people with bowel issues see the cancers, and they see the breakdown of the bowel. It's in that last portion of your intestines. It's not just the dehydrated and cooked and highly processed foods like breads and grains and chips, but it's also the meat products, because I need to make a separate video on this, but humans were not designed to eat a high protein diet. And why? A lot of people cannot wrap their head around this. Our intestines are too long. The animal eaters who eat a meat-based diet, the carnivores and the omnivores, have a much shorter intestinal tract. And this is because it takes meat so long to digest that they have to get everything they need from it, and it needs to be exited from the bowels within 4 to 6 hours. For humans, it takes humans about 12 to 18 hours to digest and eliminate fruit, and anywhere from 18 to 48 hours to eliminate meat. And where does everyone see cancer? Most of the time in your bowels. It's in the last portion, because by the time it gets there, it starts breaking down and putrefying. And so what doesn't get eliminated accumulates. And so imagine eating 3 to 5 heavy meals of protein and pasta and dehydrated food your entire life. What's going to happen? Your gut's going to get inflamed, it's going to start breaking down, and you're going to start accumulating a lot of the buildup of plaque, because your body can't produce enough hydration to keep up with the elimination of what you're putting in. And so your body does this as a protective mechanism to basically save your life. It knows exactly where to push the waste so it doesn't affect any vital organs, and it keeps it there. But what does that do for us? It gives us an inability to absorb the food and the nutrition that you're eating. So along with the plaquing of the bowels, most of the time comes deficiencies. Why is that? You could be deficient in vitamin C or even B12 as a vegan or a meat-based eater, but you're eating 20 times the recommended amount of vitamin C or really any other type of vitamin, or your daily iron intake. Why is that? It's because there's something in your bowels that are blocking your body's ability to absorb the food that you're eating. That's why most people have deficiencies. And so if you want to correct the deficiencies, if you want to be able to start absorbing your food, you have to rehydrate this old crap, this old plaque and this old hardened material, so it loosens up, it starts to peel away, per se, in like a layman's terms, away from the bowel wall, and then it starts to be eliminated. And once you go on a monofruit diet for at least a few months, once you start juicing, say for 30 days, heavily juice, you don't even have to be on all juice. Once you start doing this for 30 days to a month or two, you're gonna start to see major things come out of your bowels. And all of this stuff is typically old, hardened material, plus worms, plus candida, plus parasites, and all sorts of other things. And once you start getting this stuff off the wall of your bowel, your small intestines, the intestines becomes less inflamed. It starts to regrow. The microvilli that are lining your intestines that actually soak up and absorb the nutrient start to regrow. And what does that mean? That means that you start to gain weight eating literally the exact same diet. So you could be eating a diet that consists of banana and strawberry smoothie for breakfast, a medium-sized watermelon for lunch, and an 800 to 1,000 calorie salad for dinner with tomatoes, lettuce, bell peppers, and mangoes, avocado, and cucumbers, and 800 to 1,000 calories. So you're getting roughly 2,000 calories in per day, maybe even more. So if you even do the same thing, but your body just starts to rehydrate this plaque and eliminate this plaque, you will automatically just start gaining more weight. Now here's the cool part. Well, here's the not so cool part, but the cool part. A lot of people have tried juicing and eating raw, and that's where the main bulk of the topic that I want to talk about comes, is because you've tried everything, it seems like. But most raw vegans and most fruitarians are not drinking enough water. And if you have plaque in your intestines, you cannot get enough water in your body just from eating fruit to rehydrate and eliminate this old plaque. So what do you have to do? You either have to increase your water intake with your fruit-based diet. This is almost a given. If you've never done a long water fast and you're coming into this game with a lot of chronic health issues, I can almost guarantee you that you're severely dehydrated if you're not drinking water. Drinking plenty of water, I would say a minimum of 2 to 3 liters per day on top of your fruit-based diet. And keep in mind, I didn't understand this at the beginning of my journey, which is why I was having some issues. Why I was having a lot of issues with my gut. And I was healing lots of things, but I wasn't healing to the extent that I wanted to. Okay, so we need to be drinking more water as fruit-based eaters because, for one, yes, optimally, if your body's working perfectly, you can and you should be able to get all your daily water intake from the food you're eating, which should be 85 to 93% water-based diet predominantly. That's papayas and mangoes and pineapples and watermelon and grapes, oranges, apples, and stuff like that. Stuff that's mainly water with calories, with nutrients. So if you're not doing that, you need to up your water intake. If you are doing that and you've been raw, you've been drinking water, you've done juice cleanses, and you've eaten the monofruit diets, and you still cannot gain weight, say you're 100 pounds or 125 pounds as a tall man, like I was, and you still can't gain weight, what do? Well, my friends, there's not many things you can do. And the advice that I'm about to give you is only hypothetically what I would do if I was somebody who have tried everything and you cannot gain weight regardless of what you eat, how much you eat, or any of the raw food type cleanses that you've tried. And I'm not going to give you advice because I'm not a medical doctor, thank God, because most medical doctors don't help anyone. They just suppress and treat your symptoms, never healing. So I need to preface that. But you might need to do a water fast. And I'm not going to tell you to do a water fast, but a water fast is the ultimate way to cleanse and heal your body, pretty much regardless of health issues. Any chronic, degenerative, accumulated disease that you've developed, the quickest way to reverse anything, really, the quickest, maybe not the best for you and your specific scenario, because most people are not ready to hear about water fast. And the world can barely even comprehend with eating more fruit or even vegan, even just cooked, steamed potatoes. Most of the world's not even ready to hear that. So when you say water fast, and they're like, "Whoop, I lost you there." It's like taboo, never going to do that. So, so most people aren't ready for that, and that's totally fine. This video is for the people who are really struggling, who have tried everything, who are ready to take the next step. So what do? You might have to do a water fast, and I'm not going to give everyone blanket advice, just go drink water, because you need to be experienced in what you're doing. Water fasting in itself is a safe practice if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, you can get into some danger and you can hurt yourself, and you can cause more damage than you have already done. So I'm not going to tell you to just go water fast. You need to look into it. I've studied it heavily for many years, and I've done several long water fasts on my own. So I'm not going to tell you how to water fast. That's not what this video is about. You need to look into that if that is something that you would like to do. But if you've tried everything, what water fasting does, even if you're skinny, most people will say that, "Oh my God, you're a dude who's 6'2". You weigh 118 pounds, 125 pounds. There's no way you could survive on 2 to 3 weeks of just water." If you study water fasting, you'll know that you, as a skinny person, you can fast plenty long. No, absolutely, you're not going to be able to fast as long as people who are, 100 pounds overweight. Of course not. They have plenty of reserves. But most people who are very, very thin can fast for plenty long to rehydrate enough and give your body a rest enough to eliminate this old plaque. And it really does depend on the person, their health conditions, their history, how tall they are, how much they weigh, and what they're able to do mentally and physically. That will depend on how long you can water fast. A major critical thing in a water fast is knowing how much to drink, how often to drink it. And that's where the experience comes in. That's when you need to know how to interpret vital signs, how to understand the signs and symptoms of really overhydration and dehydration. And so I'm not going to talk about that here. I don't want this video to be about that. I just want to encourage people to start looking for other options, because most of the world isn't ready to hear this shit. But water fasting and juice cleansing are absolute freaking miracles. And if you have tapped out and you've done the juice cleansing, it might be time to look at the deeper detoxification way, which is the most natural that all other animals on the planet do. And I personally have seen miracles with my life by doing long water fasts. I've done 2 19-day fasts and a recent 14-day fast a month ago, which is why I'm still skinny. At the start of my fast, I weighed 155 pounds. I lost roughly 20 pounds, and now I'm back up to like 139. So I'm still down quite a bit. In the next couple months, I will most likely regain all of that back. But most people think that when you do a water fast, you just wither away and die. Water fasting is not starving. It is fasting. The body has reserves to live on for plenty of time. What happens when you go into about day 2 to day 4 of a water fast is that your body kicks into ketosis. And when that happens, your body stops using glycogen and muscles to burn for glucose for the brain and the vital organs, and it converts fat into energy, into glucose. And it's a more stable, more long-term stored fuel reserve. The more fat you have on your body, the longer you'll be able to fast. So for somebody who's going into a water fast who's very skinny, yeah, you might not be able to fast that long. 2-3 weeks. But that might be enough time to completely revolutionize your health and release enough of this plaque, given you're drinking enough water and interpreting your vital signs correctly. And it might be what you need to heal you. And once you eliminate this plaque, you can break your fast, continue eating a fruit-based diet with the same amount, 1,000 to 3,000 calories a day, depending on your level. And you might start just rapidly gaining weight back. And so this is very important information for people who are thin, who are skinny, who are struggling. The same thing really happens with people who lose weight. The same exact thing happens, is that you start to rehydrate this old plaque, and you start to absorb the minerals and nutrients. Your body starts to work better. You start to detoxify really rapidly, and your intestines and your metabolism just start to work really well and become in tune. And so it's very important that people think outside the box. And again, you might not be ready for a water fast. Most people can physically do it, but a lot of people aren't mentally ready, because it does take time. You need to be resting fully. You definitely do not want to be working. You don't want to be doing anything except laying in bed, sitting on a couch, and chilling, resting with your eyes closed as much as possible, just sipping water all day. But a lot of people aren't ready for that. And so that's totally fine. I'm addressing the people who are ready for something like that, or might foresee themselves being ready, or want to gear up to do that sometime in the next near future of your life and of the course of your detoxification path. So that's the long-winded version of this, is that it's possible to heal yourself of being underweight. And a lot of people call me skinny and anorexic. And right before I started doing a water fast, this recent water fast, I looked very normal. I looked healthy. I looked like I had tons of weight and muscle, and I was filled out. And that really only lasted for a few months. And then I did another water fast. And I will continue to do that until I feel like all of the waste and the matter that is not supposed to be in my body has been eliminated. I have an easy time fasting for at least 2 to 3 weeks, and I have no major signs of detoxification. Then I'll stop water fasting, and then I'll just focus solely on rebuilding, working out, gaining muscle, gaining all of my weight and strength back. And from here, I'll probably put on at least another 30 pounds, hopefully mostly muscle. So it's a long journey for some. Most people look at my situation, they're like, damn, dude, you're still going. Why are you still going? You know, like, shouldn't you be healed by now? It's like, most people have no idea how chronically sick I was, the diet I ate, or how bad my health really was, and how much toxicity I have in my body. So to spend, you know, I'm nearing year 6 on raw food, hundreds of days of juicing, several long water fasts, and I'm gonna keep going. Because I'm dedicated. I know exactly so vividly and clearly what the path is. I know what's safe and what is dangerous. I know exactly where my body is and what it's doing. And every time I do a fast or a juice cleanse or some sort of detox, I feel magical afterwards. And so I encourage everybody to don't just take my advice, don't just listen to me, but start doing some research, start digging, and start expanding your mind to think outside the box. If a doctor tells you you're skinny and you're skinny because you're eating a fruit diet, and you've tried to eat 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 calories on a fruit-based diet, you know that they don't know shit, because you can gain weight even eating fruit. So you can't really take anything a medical doctor says about health at face value, because all of these dudes and these ladies, they were not taught the correct information when they went to school. They were taught how to treat symptoms. They are symptom managers because they were never taught what causes disease. And what causes disease is so incredibly simple. It's mostly toxicity and dehydration, which leads to deficiency. And so when you remove the toxins, when you rehydrate the body, when you get the plaque and the waste out, your body, it's so simple, you guys. Your body just starts to work like it should. It's really not that difficult in theory. The journey for some can be very long and windy, and it can be very difficult. I know that firsthand experience. But it doesn't have to be. You can shortcut the path by going deeper in your detoxification journey if you're willing to. If you're willing to risk it, take some time off, learn the processes, study this stuff, and really dive deep. You can have a beautiful journey, and you can get your life and your health back. But for some people, it could take a lot of painful work. And fasting is not fun. I'm not going to say that it's going to be easy. For some people, it might not be terribly difficult. But for a lot of people, it is difficult. And for a very small amount of people, it's absolutely brutal. And for me, it was brutal. I'm not saying this to discourage you. I'm only saying this because it can happen, and you should be aware that water fasting, while it could be really freaking difficult, that doesn't mean that it's undoable. And if you're strong enough to get through it, you're strong enough to take it hour by hour and day by day, then you can get to the finish line. The same thing is true with doing a long juice cleanse. If you want to do a juice feast for a month and you've never done it, just take it one day at a time. Just start today, start tomorrow, drink a juice for breakfast, and then another one for lunch and a few before dinner, and then boom, before you know it, you'll be sleeping, you'll wake up the next day, and you'll have one day of juice cleansing under your belt. So just start trying stuff, you guys. You're not going to heal yourself by sitting there on the couch and eating potato chips and just continuing down the never-ending road of accumulating more disease by continuing down the diet that got you to where you're being, uncomfortable in your own skin in the first place. So that's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit me with the thumbs up. And you can subscribe if you'd like. Share this video if it makes sense to you. If you know other people are having a really tough time gaining weight, share it with them. Send it to them. Share it on your social media, whatever. That's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.